Ну, расслабьтесь. Умоляю вас, сержант. Улыбнитесь.
Что?
Вы улыбнитесь?
Зачем?
Просто улыбнитесь.
Чему?
Чему угодно. Всей нелепости этой жизни. Людям, которые так серьезны, считают себя такими важными, преувеличивают свое значение. Если вам больше не над чем смеяться, смейтесь над собой. Надо мной посмейтесь.
Зачем?
Потому что мы странная парочка.
Вернитесь за свой столик.
Нет, я вас не оставлю. Не оставлю пока вы хоть раз не рассмеетесь.
Теперь вернитесь.
А это не смешно. Я про настоящий смех. Знаю, я расскажу вам смешную историю. Так, минутку. Сейчас я вспомню. Вот, вспомнил. Жили-были два француза, которые поехали в Америку.
На каком корабле?
На каком... Ладно, забудьте. Не думаю, что рассказ бы вам понравился.
Вероятно, нет.
Вот отличная история. Нет, плохая история. Забудь про нее. А вам нравятся шотландские истории?
Никогда не слышала.
Хорошо. Двое шотландцев встретились на улице. Я не знаю название улицы. Да это и не важно. Одного звали МакГилликади, а второго Макинтош. МакГилликади сказал Макинтошу: «Привет, мистер МакГилликади». А Макинтош сказал МакГилликади: «Привет, мистер МакГилликади». Затем МакГилликади сказал Макинтошу: «Как поживает миссис Макинтош?» А Макинтош ответил: «Как миссис МакГилликади».
Лучше бы они не встречались.
Да, я согласен. А как вам этот? Двое мужчин смотрели на Луну. Один сказал другому: «Это правда, что на Луне живет много людей?» А второй отвечает: «Конечно, это правда. Где-то 500 миллионов». Тогда первый говорит: «Думаю, когда появляется месяц, там тесновато». Вам не смешно?
Нет.
А я смеялся, когда первый раз услышал. Может, дело не в шутке, может, дело в вас?
Не думаю.
Дам вам еще один шанс. Итак, когда я впервые услышал эту шутку, я долго смеялся. Начали. Мужчина заходит в ресторан, садится за столик и говорит: «Официант, принесите мне кофе без сливок». 5 минут спустя возвращается официант: «Простите, сэр, у нас нет сливок. Может, он будет без молока?»
Isn't life awful?
I went to be Garbo's leading man in a film called Queen Christina. I think they're talking about that in the papers today. And I was fired. I was to be her leading man. And after 2 weeks, I was fired. And I think they tried to tell me, rather sweetly of them, really, considering the fact I was no good at all. They tried to tell me that I'd been fired because she wanted to do a favor to John Gilbert. Well, John Gilbert probably hasn't been heard of today, but he was a mighty, mighty, mighty wonderful silent film star. And many of Garbo's early pictures, they were coupled up. And I knew it wasn't true. I knew perfectly well that the truth was it simply wasn't good enough. I wasn't her weight, anything like. She knew all about the business, knew absolutely all about it. I knew very little about it, frightfully nervous, sweating with nerves in front of her. And obviously a bit too young for her. It was no good. And she occasionally said a few. I tried to charm her one day. I remember thinking, decided, charm something. I'll charm that one. That's it. So I went up and I said, "Isn't it interesting about so and so?" And so I got a bit prepared, I remember. And she looked at me. She was sitting on a bench, and she looked at me rather sort of a little pityingly, I remember. And I went on until eventually I dried up. And she said, "Well, life's a pain anyway," she said. And I think it was about the only thing she ever said to me. Until after I had begun to get on well in the industry. I went back again.
Peter Garbo in Queen Christina.
Yes, that's true. But she was right. I wasn't up to her standard at all. I hadn't got the stature necessary to be her leading man. Anything like. She was absolutely right. She was very sweet to me years later, and I had apologetic messages through George Cukor and people, and I said, "Please tell her she was absolutely right. I couldn't hold a candle to her. I was too young for her. I was about 2 or 3 years younger. I was very light. I was only about 25, I think. And she was not light. She had immense personality, colossal experience, tremendous presence, and was a great, great artist, and completely understood every single thing that was to be thought or understood about her medium. She was the mistress of it, queen of it. I didn't know anything about it. Well, little, but what I knew was no match for her. She was quite right to fire me, because I nearly cut my throat and nearly threw myself out of windows afterwards, because it was very highly publicized, as you can imagine at the time. However, one gets over these things.
And when you